Hello, I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for coming. As famous astronomer Carl Sagan once said, if you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe. But since the universe has already been invented, I will be making an apple pie from scratch. So the steps we are going to be taking to making this apple pie are how to make the filling, how to make the crust, how to put the dough that is going to be our crust into the pan, and how to bake the pie. So for the first step, you're going to need, we're going to be making our filling, and you're going to need 4 sliced and peeled apples, 3/4 cup of apple juice, 3/4 cup of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and the optional 1/2 of apple pie spice, but I won't be using that today. So once you have all those ingredients, mix them up in one large saucepan like this. Once you mix those, place it onto the stove and set the heat to about medium and stir it occasionally. So once it's kind of hot, you're gonna want to add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and 2 more tablespoons of apple juice, and stir that constantly until you kind of see it's thickened. So now that you see it's kind of thickened, you're going to want to take that off the stove, and now you're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So mix that in, and you're gonna push it to the side, and we're gonna work on that a little later. And right now we're going to do the crust of the pie. So for this, you're going to need 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 cup of cold butter, unsalted or salted, if whichever one you'd like. So for this, you're going to mix those up. I suggest maybe using your hands instead of a fork because it's a little easier to mix in. And after you do that, it should end up something like this, kind of like a crumbly texture to it. So once you've done that, you're going to add 6 to 8 teaspoons of ice water. So you can use any type of water you want. You can put it in the fridge for a little and leave it there for like a few hours and then take it out, and it'll be cold and you can just use that. So add those into your dough and mix them one by one, not all together, but mix it while, adding. So now you should have a dough. You should be able to make it into a ball. So now that you can make it into a ball, split it in half, kind of. Make one slightly larger than the other and place the one that's not that large to the side because we'll be using it in a sec. But when you finally have your large portion of dough, we're going to roll it out. And I have mine already rolled out. So once you've rolled it out, we are going to be placing it onto the pie plate that you're going to use. I will be using a pie plate like this. You can use whichever type of pie plate you really want. So to do this, I have it on parchment paper, but you can just roll it onto your roller and place it onto your pie plate that way as well. So you place it onto your pie plate. Make sure it's covering all of the sides equally, and should look something like this. So now kind of make it settle into the pie plate, push it down, And you're gonna see the corners are kind of starting to rip a little. So take off the excess that is on the corners, like this. So yeah. The excess that you get, you can just put to the side. We probably won't be using it for this anymore. So yeah, any excess you get, you can just put it to the side. But it should look something like this, kind of placed into your pie plate well. So now that you have this done, you're going to grab your filling that you put to the side, and you're going to put it into your pie plate. And make sure you spread this throughout the bottom evenly throughout your pie plate. Okay, so make sure you spread that out and everything. Okay. So now that you've put your filling into your pie plate, you're now going to use the dough that you set aside that was smaller, and you're going to roll that out. And once it's rolled out, you're going to put it on to your pie. Make sure it covers the top. And when you press your other dough on top of your pie, you're going to want to make sure it's pressed onto the bottom dough that you just put on your pie, so it bakes well from the inside. So once you have that done, you're going to cut some slits down the middle of the pie. So kind of in the middle, you're going to cut 4 little slits to make sure it bakes well into the pie. So once you have this part done, you're going to set your stove or your oven to 400 degrees, and you're going to place your pie into your oven for about 40 to 45 minutes. So now once your pie is done in your oven, it should look something like this. And this is a great dessert to make at any event, a family event, to give to a new neighbor, or maybe just one day to just treat yourself. So I would like you all to just remember how to make the filling, how to make the dough, the crust, how to put it into the pan, and how to bake the pie. And finally, I would like to leave you with this quote by Jane Austen. Always remember that apple pies are a big part of our domestic happiness. So grab yourself a slice of that happiness and enjoy.
Yay!